We're getting ready to go to China. We're leaving in a week. Tell me what you're most looking forward to about the trip.
Probably the experience of seeing the culture there. Uh, I realize it's an educational trip, but still, to see the Great Wall, to see the other side of the world, things nothing like what we have here. I've not traveled internationally at all, so it'll be quite an experience.
Oh, absolutely. Great Wall of China. One of the seven natural or seven man-made wonders of the world. You can see it from space. It's one of those things that I think truly will be an experience of a lifetime. So I really am looking forward to the Great Wall of China.
Great Wall, 5,000 miles, 25 feet high, amazing, centuries old. It's going to be very cool.
We think we have a sense of what hospitality is and what being friendly with others is, and I thought that about myself until you go to another country like China, and just the concept of just the friendliness and hospitality, it's just a level above what we have here.
The best advice is to understand that there's differences in our personalities and cultures and ideals, and you're a guest in their environment, and you need to respect it and be aware that they do things a little bit different than we do things.
To be honest, just do some sightseeing, because normally when I travel for business, I don't have an opportunity to do that. And I know on our itinerary we have the Great Wall, we're going to Tiananmen Square, we're doing a lot of extra things. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how business is done in China, but just the interaction with our classmates, it's just going to be such a great bonding experience for our class. It's just going to be a great time. So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
One, it's going to be a nice time for me to get away from work and kind of spend some time, getting to know everybody a little bit better. I think it'll be nice to see everybody kind of outside of the classroom environment. China itself, I think there's a lot of stereotypes. There's a lot of different things that, when you think of China, you think of, manufacturing, millions of people. You think of those types of things. So it'll be a good chance to see how realistic those views are.
Well, I guess what I'm looking forward to is the culture, and trying to see how different they are from what we are, and then looking at, are they similar or different? And I mean, you hear so many different things.
Rocket, I'm taking a rocket. I'm packing my suitcase. And look out, moon.
Our first visit in China was to Lenovo, a Chinese computer company. They had humble beginnings, starting off with a one-room office, and now have just moved into a new, modern office complex. They are now a world leader in the PC business, having recently taken over the IBM PC business in the last few years. Now, Lenovo's focus is development of light, small laptops with longer-lasting batteries in the pursuit of the latest technology. Lenovo was a major sponsor of the 2008 Summer Olympics and designed the Olympic torch used in the opening ceremonies in Beijing.
Our visit to Coca-Cola, I found that very, very interesting and informative. A lot of information about the demographics, doing business in China, the different markets and how things are different in China versus United States. It was a fantastic building. I sure would like to work there. Looks like they keep the people very happy and entertained, and obviously then more creative. It was very, very interesting.
We visited Armstrong, located just outside of Shanghai. They started in the U.S. and moved to China in the mid-1990s. They primarily manufacture ceiling tiles with distribution throughout the Asia-Pacific area. During our visit to Armstrong, they had an admirable safety record with 0 lost time accidents and over 3 million hours worked. They had 240 personnel that worked 3 shifts. And of note, all the employees as well as management are Chinese. We were impressed that Armstrong used many recycled materials to make their ceiling tiles.
And obviously in my business, China's a very important country for us. We import the majority of our product from China. And I thought it would be interesting for the class to sort of have a look at Li and Feng and sort of the inner workings of their company and how they facilitate trade for retailers in the U.S. because they are the largest agent in the world. So I approached Li and Feng about it, and they were really excited. Asked them if they'd ever done anything like that before, and they hadn't. So they were very willing and excited to have the opportunity to present their business to a group of executive MBA students. So it really all came together very well, and I was a little nervous as far as how the presentation would go since they had never done anything like this, but I thought they did a great job, and I thought they gave a really good, 20,000-foot view of sort of trade and how China plays and how their company plays a role in trade as well.
And getting some sense of how business is done. I think that's enormously important. But one of the things we also try to build in is the idea that you should be exposed to the services that are available through the embassy and the consulate. So the commercial service meeting that we had, I think, was enormously helpful because now you know the resources available to you. Same thing with the Ohio Department of Development. Ohio is very much trying to promote exports to all different parts of the world, and they have people on the ground in places like Shanghai and Beijing to help us do that. So understanding those resources, I think, makes you better business people and gives you a lot more potential.
Jeff Lackner and I were like two billy goats. We went as far as we could go. So we raced up to the top and went probably 7 or 8 of those turrets deep. I was shocked at how many people were up there and how many old people were up there, like 200 years old, climbing the wall better than I could. I figured if I was going to buy something for my wife that was jewelry, which she requested, I'd buy it here to make sure it was real. So yeah, I got a happy fun ball, or the happy friendship ball, or whatever it is, and which I thought would be cool. For 100 yuan, negotiated down for 150, which is good, right?
Well, I bought 2 happiness balls, one for me and one for my sister, and we got a bundling discount because we got a lot of stuff, and I got a Buddha too.
Nice.
Very nice, dark jade Buddha, very small Buddha.
The sheer enormity of the Forbidden City, and it's sort of like those little stacking boxes. As you went in, there was a huge building, but each building got larger and larger. But one of the things that I found truly fascinating is they built these buildings 500, 600, 700 years ago before computers and drills, and just the fact that they could figure out how to build something to be so incredibly huge and structurally sound to last all these years. And when I look at big buildings and things like that, that's what I really look at, is all the manpower and the creativity that go into not only a brick to all the ornate artistry all across it.
Then we went up to the Big Bell. Big Bell was a tower. You had to go up these stairs that they had to be like at a 50-degree angle. It was like wicked. And the stairs were like this tall, so like twice the size of a normal step. And there was probably about 50 of them. So it was pretty tiring getting up there. And then he had this bell that was probably, 20 feet tall by 15-foot diameter, solid brass. And what we couldn't figure out was how they got it up there, because it was way up, probably about 100 feet up on this tower. And this was way back, at some point BC, and when they didn't have power tools and cranes and all that. But I'm sure they had pulleys and levers and figured it out. And we had a whole bunch of rickshaws set up, and there was a big race going on. And it turns out that there's motivation for the rickshaw man, which comes in the form of RMBs. So we figured that out pretty early, and we gave him a little bit of feed to go a little bit further. Got ourselves in a pole position, and then he pulled a fast one on us as we got up to the lead. He stopped to show us some plaque on the side of the building. And then we figured out the ploy. The ploy was to allow the other guys to catch up and pass us so that he could get a few more R&B. And we came in number one, not the girls. Me and Michael A came in number one.
Shanghai, there are buildings that were not here last year, a lot of them, very big buildings. It changes that quickly. So when Paul and I were on the cruise, we were, he turned and said to me, that wasn't there last year, was it? No, neither was the one next to it. So the rate at which this city is developing is phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal. I know that the economic meltdown has hit across China, but Shanghai, you're not seeing it very directly at all.
Never having gone to China, and then you having seen pictures or seen stuff on television, you see that kind of those kind of environments, the designs of the buildings and the kind of, they have the dragon art there and kind of thing, all the sculpture and everything was very impressive. It seems like the dragon has always been kind of a significant piece of their lives. It almost seems like a symbol of power.
Well, it was actually a pretty cool experience. It was kind of melodramatic going out there and just having this big round, circle to go through and look out. But then as we were going to exit, found out that there was a whole nother level there, and actually it was a glass floor. So it's pretty cool. Actually, I was out there with Ben and Chris Allen at the time, and I said, hell no, I'm not going out on that thing. This is pretty cool, but got the courage to go up. Ben told me, don't look down, just look at me. I did that. So we had a lot of fun times. We took a couple of good pictures there.
I thought it was a great trip. I thought it was a really great group of students, a wonderful class, very different in terms of class personality from last year, which was fine, which is great. I thought the trip met and exceeded my expectations, and I had been on this trip last year. We did some new things, we did some different things, and overall I thought it was a really great trip. I enjoyed it a lot.
I was expecting more of a communist state, more of a third world feel to it, but it's very modern, very energetic, a lot of things going on. You walk down the street and there's shops everywhere, very capitalistic, far more vibrant, far more energetic than I would have ever expected.
Yeah, I'm actually, it was kind of surprising. The president of our company, or my division, is actually one who got me my contact over in China. And when I sent a thank you the other day, he actually came back and said he wanted us to set up a conference or a teleconference call with me to go over what I learned in China and what I thought of our business there. So I've got that actually set up for next week. So I am hopefully going to bring back a perspective where he's right now working with our Chinese counterparts over there, and they're giving him their take on what's going on in the business. But me being able there to sit with the VP over there, and then I also sat with the analytics director, and then also went to lunch with the sales rep over there. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what I say back about my perception of our business over there versus what he's hearing from the Chinese group alone.
But I did go see the hospitals, and I talked to some nursing leaders in China, and some of the issues that they're dealing with in China are some of the same issues we're dealing with in America healthcare, especially nursing satisfaction. So actually we're going to do some collaborative work on nursing satisfaction, maybe do a study and actually publish it, believe it or not, with my counterpart in China. So we have a plan. I don't know if it'll come to fruition, but it's pretty exciting.
I guess another thing I learned was a little more in depth on relationships. It seems simple enough, but I think there's a little there's an Eastern philosophy that doesn't quite fit in with what we mean by a relationship. And the gentleman at the embassy put it, he said the literal translation is covenant. And if you think of the word covenant, that's totally different than what we think of as a business relationship. It's a deep promise, it's a deep understanding between two people. If you can get that with someone in China, you're going to do business with them successfully. If you don't, there's a chance that they're going to be going to covenant with someone else, and you're going to be an outsider, and your interests will certainly not be met in that case.
Would you recommend this trip to a friend, and why?
I would recommend not only the trip but the program. I mean, this trip itself is worth all the work, I think. I had really high expectations going in, and it's exceeded them. I don't feel like I've wasted a moment.
Welcome home! We're home!
It's not even live, is it?
Do it again.
Oh yeah, it is live.
Yay!
We're home.